Just be out with us to Nusa Penida. We found this perfect hidden gem, guys, and we cannot wait to share it with you. We created the entire video, actually 2 videos of the experience here at the Deep Roots Dive and Yoga Resort and the walking tour of the entire resort as well. Well, to give you a little bit more information, we are on Nusa Penida. It's an island that belongs to Bali. Bali is the main island, and Nusa Penida is a small island that you have to take a ferry to, and it's pretty close to Bali.
Basically, if you want, there are 2 different types of boats you can get here. You get your standard boat, or you get your speed boat, which will get you here a little bit faster.
And the standard boat is the ferry that actually fits motorbikes, so cars, cargo. And we did a video of how to get to Nusa Penida on different types of ferries and ports. If you're new to our channel, my name is Irina.
And I'm Devon.
And we are Just Be Out. We create informative travel videos to help you get the most out of your vacation. And in this video, we will be talking about the do's and don'ts of Nusa Penida. There are tons of speedboat coming and going from Nusa Penida and neighboring islands as well, but the #1 do is
to book your ferry ticket in advance. Don't wait for the last minute.
And in advance, meaning at least a couple of days. And the booking, they don't do online booking. You just text them on WhatsApp and book your slot, how many people, and they will reserve the spot for you. Always come to the port at least 30 minutes earlier, and make sure you have cash with you, because it is all cash to book ferry tickets.
Now, speaking of cash, cash is king here on the island. A lot of things that you wouldn't think you would need cash for, you would, including kind of just using the bathrooms. There are places and different things that you will be doing, activities and attractions you're going to be going to. And to access the restroom, you're going to need a small amount of cash.
And they do have an ATM here on the island, but during the high season, like where we are right now, it's the dry season, the ATM might run out of cash, so you don't want to end up on the island and not have enough cash. Now, bigger resorts like the Deep Roots, they do accept cards for their restaurant and obviously to pay for the hotel, but smaller homestays do not accept cards, cash only. Local mini vendors and all the attractions, and even like think about speedboat, right? The ferry. You might think, okay, the ferry should have the credit card machine, but they don't.
Once you're on the island, you're going to need to get around, so there are going to be a couple options for you to do so. Well, first of all, you can rent a scooter. If you're capable of driving a scooter, or you're comfortable driving a scooter, that would be an option for you. Other ways would be actually taking a taxi, getting a taxi driver and booking a taxi driver.
Keep in mind, there are no Gojek or Grab services here on the island, so you do have to book your driver in advance. And here's the next do book it in advance. There are so many taxi drivers. There are actually more taxis here on the island than even scooters, opposed to in the main island of Bali. There's mostly scooters and way less regular cars, but here it's the opposite. Even though there are a lot of availabilities, be sure to book your driver. I had one driver in mind, but because I didn't know exactly what day we will be going on the tour, when I called him, he was already booked. But he actually recommended his friend. For the same rate. All the rates with drivers are negotiable. We will leave several WhatsApp numbers in the description below, so you can text them on WhatsApp and negotiate your price.
Using these 2 forms of transportation to get around the island, there's some do's and there's some don'ts when it comes to these transportations. For example, if you are renting a scooter, do wear a helmet. You might see people driving around the island without a helmet, but don't be that person that just follows what other people do. It is required that you do wear a helmet when you are on a scooter. And if you're not that confident with handling a scooter, we suggest that you probably don't, because the roads here are actually different than on Bali. Here the roads are very narrow. Sometimes only a car and a bike can pass, and it's still really tight.
And it's both ways.
Yes, and it's both ways. So If you're not confident, we recommend that you should probably go with the taxi route.
The roads also are narrow, windy, bumpy, and they also go up and down in elevation. So there is a lot of challenges that go with driving a scooter.
Right. And now if you're going to be renting a taxi, what we recommend to do right out the gate is take a photo of the license plate of the taxi you will be in. Why? Well, a lot of times when you're at an attraction or you're in one of these places of interest, there's a gigantic parking lot and all the taxis look alike. They're either white or black, and it's just filled, or gray, right? And it's just filled with cars. So if you don't know the license plate number, you'll find yourself looking around and trying to remember details about the vehicle you were in that might separate them. It might be a sticker or something, but it's frustrating trying to find the vehicle that you're in a sea of vehicles that look exactly the same. So we always recommend you do that.
Getting around on a scooter, Google Maps might take you to non-official roads, and there is a lot of spots on the island where the service is not covering. So your phone will have zero service, zero bars. So be sure to download Google Maps into your phone and stick to bigger roads.
When coming here, don't expect it to be like Bali, where the convenience are pretty much right at your doorstep, where you can cross the street and get what you want, and cross back and get something else that you might want. Here, doesn't work that way.
Nusa Penida is a small island, and it actually opened to tourism only in 2017 when they started introducing public ferries. Before, it was only a few ferries that go several times a week, once a day, but now the speedboats go. There are so many different companies and they go often. That's why right now there are hundreds and thousands of tourists coming here every day. But here is a don't. Do not come to Nusa Penida for just a day trip.
Yes, that is absolutely a waste, and you're going to try to cram everything in one. You're going to be overly exhausted because you're going to be in the heat going from place to place all day. Try to stay at least a minimum of 2 days. And if you find a place like here, Deep Roots, you can actually stay here for 3, 4, 5 days a week even.
And if you are into diving and wellness, again, you can stay even the entire week and just relax, restore, regenerate, and feel connected with yourself and nature.
When coming here, do bring sunscreen. It is incredibly hot here, and I know you might be thinking, but wait a minute, it's just a half-an-hour ferry ride from Bali to here. Like, how could it be hotter here than it is there? Trust us when we tell you it is.
Be sure to bring your sunscreen, apply it often, have a hat or some type of scarf to cover your head, and stay hydrated.
Just keep in mind also, this is a lush green island. There's so much greenery and jungle around, which brings mosquitoes. Always have your mosquito spray with you. You're going to need it. Unless
you're here in Deep Roots, they treat their property so nicely, and there are absolutely no mosquitoes even visible. But there are dragonflies, butterfly, different kinds of butterflies. It is absolutely beautiful here.
When visiting this island, you're going to notice that there is a lot of cliffside attractions that you'll be going to. Please don't be that person that wants to get that specific photo, a special photo where you're right at the edge of the cliff with your feet hanging over or standing too close to the sides. There are many, and you can look this up, many people who have lost their lives foolishly because they stand too close to the edge of these cliffs trying to get that photo. You don't need to do that. Visiting other attractions like Angel Billabong, that now we're talking about waves. And if you've watched our Hawaii videos while we were living there, we kind of touched on this a little bit. The ocean is not something to be played with. You should be respectful of it. And a lot of times at that attraction, people will try to go down because it creates this tide pool. And what happens is, if a wave will come in, it will suck you right out to sea. And there have been unfortunate situations there as well. And there's a lot of jagged rocks in that area. So don't think, oh, I'm gonna go down there to that tide pool and I'm gonna get that perfect picture or whatever, and there's waves right outside that comes crashing in. That can be, a bad situation.
While researching Nusa Penida, you might have seen those stunning, pristine cliff-side beaches. Well, what you need to know, there's not really beachfront accommodations. Nusa Penida, it's all about cliffs. So there are cliffside accommodations, but not beachside. And to get to those pristine beaches, you need to put in some work. Those beaches are the Diamond Beach and the Kalinking Beach, and they are the most popular tourist attractions here at Nusa Penida. But to get to those beaches, you have to walk down and then back up those manually carved steps out of the cliffside. The steps are uneven, they're different sizes, and the heat that you will experience there while climbing up and down those stairs
No joke.
is very dangerous. It is really easy to get a sunburn, sunstroke, dehydration. And once you get to those beaches, you need to be aware of the waves. There are really extreme waves down there, and if you see any waves and currents, also underwater currents, do not go into the water. It's been a lot of fatalities of people being sucked into the ocean by currents, of people being tumbled inside the waves and then crushed into the sand. Right, a lot of limbs and extremities have been broken, so be really careful and do not get into the water if there are any waves on those beaches. Coming here to Nusa Penida on a ferry, you might hear different experience. We had a fantastic ferry ride. The ocean was really calm and flat, and we got to the island literally in 20 minutes, plus 5-minute embarking and 5-minute disembarking. So it was a nice ride and really beautiful too. But you might see other people saying that the sea was way too rough and the ferries were just rocking way too much. Don't risk it. Bring any type of motion sickness medicine for you. Just in case, I took some before getting on the ferry. And also, even here when we took our taxi, the roads are really windy and I kept feeling just a little bit motion sickness, and I still had my motion sickness medicine with me, so I constantly were taking a few throughout the day. We are here to help you get the most out of your Nusa Penida vacation, and if you would like to see our other videos from Nusa Penida, watch the playlist at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, just be out with us.
Cheers!